I sent everyone the link. And then I think we have right now 2.
Is it the same link?
No,
It's a different link.
There's supposed to be
10 people.
like indoor boots.
Yeah, but I think they.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're slippers, but it's like down.
Was so.
Really well.
Whoa, that looks really cool.
It's always my feet that get cold. Before
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah.
my heart.
You save a lot of
I
feeding
want
notes.
to.
Where do you get there?
REI.
REI?
Yeah. That's you can look online.
Yeah. It looks like something you use for hiking.
It's for the moon.
All right.
Okay, let me just check.
I did see Rich very briefly just a moment ago.
Yeah.
Sit. Oh.
Let me just add a few. Okay. Okay, and I don't see anyone joining right now, but I think they will join. They are.
Are you recording this? Or is that...
It is being recorded.
Now it's being recorded.
Oh, great. We will hang up this recording.
Yeah.
So I feel like in many ways we already started the work of the heart. We talk about heart, what breaks the heart and what inspires us and what brings us alive. And so this is like the next piece of work. And we're deepening our work together, our being together. And so maybe Leng, you can start with some context. What do you want to say first and see?
Are we going to do framing?
We're not going to do frame.
No, we're doing the 4 parts, right?
We're not doing the full
Okay,
part,
then
just
we-
the
then let's
just the
do
two
something.
something.
So we have been speaking from the heart and from a heart place. And I want to speak from a brain place, right? So you'll notice I'm going to switch and the energy changes. It's not because I'm not feeling your heart. I was very moved and still am moved. But let me switch to a mental place to describe. I was partly trying to be funny, but also realistic, but accurate in saying that you've all become Singaporeans. What I mean to say is to say the following. If it rains and you go out in the rain and you are in a puddle, your feet will get wet. And it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, whether you're a good person or a bad person, whether you're competent or not competent or whatever, your feet will get wet as a result of the condition of the space and place you are in. Yes? So what it means is that when your feet gets wet, you don't want to personalize it. You want to say, there's something wrong with me. My feet is wet. No. It's raining, you're in the puddle, your feet will get wet. So for those of you in that very painful place of, I'm finding work that is killing me. I'm doing work that is not killing me. I cannot be with my friends. Yeah, some of that is the choices you have made. Some of that is also the condition, what I call the Singaporean condition. I offer that to you not as a way to step into the blame or whatever, but to know that it is a condition. And therefore, understanding the nature of that condition and that there are other conditions to be in that are more liberative. So let me be more specific. We've been coaching MBAs for the last few years, right? And because I went through HBS, there's a particular agony that business school people go into. the moment of joy is to get the acceptance letter. Then it's pain thereafter. And it becomes more painful because the condition, the puddle that you're in, is you're in a high-powered business school. And there are only two jobs that really matter getting into. It's consulting and finance. And then everybody is rushing into it. And then getting it, it's like the most important thing. And everybody says yes. And life all of a sudden becomes more and more miserable because it's the only two jobs. And part of what we've had to do is to say, you're feeling miserable actually because you're in business school. You're only miserable because you're in a high-end business school. And it has become your world. And everything that you think is your world is actually incredibly narrow. And that's the pain. So I offer that to say, like, there are many other realities. And part of what I see as a wonder of SEALNet is, as you begin to talk, you can see other realities and other possibilities. And other realities come about when we can speak with across the age range, with people that are not just your parents, and to also know you're in a Singaporean moment, right? And mostly I want to say, don't personalize it. So even as the next 2 hours, we're going to talk about getting into our hearts and all of that. Some of the, don't personalize your defeats necessarily. You may have to take responsibility for some of the choices you have made. But some of the excruciation is that you live in a late capitalist, high-striving, insecure, narcissistic moment.
All right, let's take another breath together. So is that Rit there?
Yes, why am I the only one?
I mean, it could possibly be because you're the wisest or you're the foolish. The most knows. But welcome. You can hear us pretty clearly, yeah?
Yes, I have to say though, I'm gonna have to leave probably in 30 minutes or so. But I really want to listen to you guys, so.
All right. So that's great. Stay as long as you can, and when you're ready to let go, let go.
Yes, thank you.
So just very briefly, what of what Leng said just now resonate maybe to hear from one or two of you? What resonated with you? Yeah.
So my brother went to university in Singapore. Before he dropped out, I go back to Vietnam to follow his own dream. And to my family, his dream is considered crazy. And it's not considered a him to take that action. Because besides that, he also has a lot of responsibilities as well as a male, as the first child in the family, as the one who possibly carries the family after that. And then I thought, okay, so now he made his choice about that. His family, well, our family is not very supportive of him.
Yes.
He's numbing himself towards any kind of feedback and response. What is he doing right now? Even though I'm there for him in spirit. And so I don't know whether following our own dream in this society is lonely or not. Or it is a really wise decision to do.
But it's a wise decision to follow your own dreams.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Very powerful question. not going to respond to that. Maybe one more person talk about what I just said.
About being in the rain puddle and the condition that you're in. And how do you make sense of it?
I'd like to share.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly because I'm in business.
Mm-hmm. A very high-end, expensive one.
So what resonated with me was when Leng said,
And also speak so that Ruth can hear.
yeah, let me know if you can't hear it.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great, thanks. Particularly when Leng said, when you're in business school and there are only 2 jobs and everybody goes for it and that's your world, it resonates with me because I've been feeling really lonely because I don't feel it's my world and I'm not going for either one of those 2 jobs. I'm going towards real estate in Singapore because it outwardly looks into Southeast Asia because my dream is to build workforce housing for middle and low income workers in Vietnam. And it's weird. I feel like either I should be going with the rush, like rushing with the pack, or standing on the cliff somewhere else, looking down the pack and being like, why the heck am I even here? And there's no middle ground. And so it's weird, like why paying so much in opportunity cost and in money and in emotions, why should I not feel a sense of community? Like, so I don't know, that really resonates with me.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to go to the head to speak to the cerebral part of us, right? The cerebral part of us understands that in our core, we always need to belong. And that when we start finding ourselves in places that we don't belong, we will feel lonely. And out of that loneliness, we will feel self-doubt. And then we'll go down the spiral. And it's important to just step back and realize, is the condition of the puddle you are in that has raised that you've entered into a world in which all of a sudden the values are consulting and investment banking, and if not, you don't belong. And if you don't belong, then you lose value, you're not as pretty or good or smart, and you're wasting all that opportunity cost. All of that entire stream of thinking has to do with just being in the condition of the puddle, which is a high-end business school. And what we have been saying, again, is with mindfulness practice, with any other kind of practice, is being able to just step out and know that you're caught in the drama. And the first part is just give the drama a name. And you're just being brought in as an actor. And to the extent you can take a break and go like, oh, wow, I'm just caught up in a wayang, as the Indonesians would say. It's the first step to say there are many other acts I can get into. So, for example, a practical one that I've started to say to the MBAs is, go to the medical school, go to the social work school, go to another world that's just not a high-end business school. Go even to talk to business school graduates 10 years out, and you'll find that, oh, all of a sudden you can't breathe, you know. And so it's like, really don't let the world define you. Strive to get out of your Facebook circle or social circle or whatever it is. Like these moments, to just breathe. And I call it the Singaporean moment because those of you who know Singapore, you stay in that small little island and all of a sudden the price of your HDB flat is very important and the size of your car is very important and what school you go to has become very important. And the conversation is always about maximizing your real estate value. And there's no other conversation. And how do you get out of the madness of Singapore? You take a plane out. Right? Go to Laos. Go to Thailand. So Singapore is a state of mind. So I think one of the things I want to jump ahead is that we will begin to offer this place as a time out of time, as a place out of place. We call it a toot or a poop. Yes, that's fine.
I don't quite get that one, but
yeah. So we can move on to this work and tie it in.
Yes. And I'm, other ways to use another metaphor, maybe like it's the race. You somehow stand along and then somehow you jump into the race and you start running. and suddenly your life is about competing, but you know that it's just a race, and that you could either choose to step out and choose a different race, or to choose to walk, or choose something else. But the condition of the race is that you have to run.
Yes. And you have to overtake the person in front of you. And now it's not like, why am I following that person right in front of me?
Yes. And I think some of what we're saying is, for many of you, you're already living it and you're practicing it, but maybe this is just even a confirmation or an affirmation for you. And some of it may be new to some of you. You know, we coach MBAs at business school, like Columbia and Yale, and consistently, I would ask, like, did you, before getting to Yale or Columbia, do you imagine, like, when you get there, you just be so happy, and all problems of your life would be solved, and like, yes, I thought, if only I get into Yale, if only I get to Columbia, if I only get to some place, I'll be happy. And then they said, well, you know, I'm just as miserable before, then now that I'm here, I'm still as miserable, maybe even worse. So then why is that? You know, just because you get something out there, then we still, the satisfaction doesn't come. Why is that? Right? And so then the question is like, how do we have the internal satisfaction so that regardless of what the external condition might be, there's some satisfaction that comes from the inside. And sometimes the inside somehow matches the outside, sometimes they don't, but have to figure out what's going on inside so that when the condition outside change, you still have some level of awareness and acceptance.
Yeah. And I think we're not talking about just the MBAs, right? I mean, how many people at MIT alum? So this is the second time or the third time round, the drama now. So it's good to now know that there is a pattern, right? Right? You all know there's this pattern now. First time round, if we told you, no, if you don't go and get into MIT, you should not be that unhappy, you will not believe us. But now that you have gone from the best high school to the best university to the best graduate program or the best job that you could get, and it's not happening, now you can see the pattern recognition. You know, me was after HBS, getting into consulting, feeling miserable and thinking, the next step up is maybe I should go to Yale because then I would have Harvard and Princeton. Then I got all three. And it was at that moment that I realized, okay, I'm crazy. Am I crazy? And then I learned two things, right? One is, part of it is the craziness that I bring with me. And the craziness we bring with you as taught by this man up there, right? Gautama, the Buddha. You're never happy with what is in front of you. To really understand what that means. The other part, when I started coaching, was to realize that the work environment and the societies we're in are set up to exploit exactly that. Up and out is a really good business model. Insecure, smart people. And that's why the recruitment among the Ivy League is particularly high into those particular industries, because they're smart, achieving people who feel insecure. And because the insecurity has been a driver for most of us to go ahead. And so you come into that business model. And so I'm saying is like, this was not like at random that the business model was chosen.
Can I just say that I feel like it's scary.
Speak so that he can
Oh yeah, it's scary to think that I think it's not just the working place, but our education, my education.
Yeah.
Everything I studied, elementary school, high school, and to college, it's constructed in that
way. It is constructed that way.
Yes.
Right. So if you want to go back, this is how late capitalism worked. Max Weber The Protestant work ethic and the rise of spirit of capitalism talks about that. And you read it as a text in sociology, and then finally you realize, oh my gosh, I'm living it. Right?
Yes.
now how to get out of this? So, okay, we have set a context.
Yes. And then another piece of context to keep in mind, and it's related to the work that we're about to do, is there are different, the way you ask question and what kind of question you ask change how you go about finding the answer and the answer you find. So asking questions is very important. So how many of you in here, and raise your hand, that oftentimes you ask yourself this question, should I do this or should I not do that? You know, oh, I shouldn't do this, or should I do this, should I do that? Or shouldn't I do this? How many of you have that form of question about what I should do or shouldn't do? Okay, so very normal. Somehow we've all been conditioned to trying to find answers to the question of should I do this or should I not do that? Okay, so the should questions is a externally motivated question. Somehow have been conditioned. We have been conditioned to learn to figure out that question: should I do this or shouldn't I do that? Okay. Those questions are either generally planted in our head when we're children growing up by our parents or family or society.
Or religion.
Or religion.
Or our peer group that we wanted to fit into.
Okay. And those questions are important for children and teenagers, even for younger development. It were used to help condition you to so that you know how to socialize with others. Okay, so that you could fit in, so you could belong, you could, you know,
do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Do the right thing. So it set you up to socialize with us. Okay, so that's the question of should. A more interesting question to ask is actually, what do I want? It's a little bit closer to who am I and, you know, like, what is it that I want? Now, as many of us are trained or conditioned to actually even ask that question. Usually, what's the family wants, or what my parents want, what my family needs, but rarely ever, what is it that I want?
It's often whatever you want, I want.
Okay, so now that's a little bit better, a little bit more helpful to get to know yourself. What is it that I want? What is it that I feel about what I need? Okay, so the question of want. Now the question of what I want is also future oriented. It's something I want in the future. I want something to happen for me in the future. Yeah. So it's a kind of desire projected into the future, what I want in the future. A more even closer question is, who am I? And what are my intentions? Or what am I ready and willing in my life? What am I ready and willing for? So that's even a more difficult, but it's closer to who I am when I ask that question. Okay, so if you really want to get to know who you are and what you're up to in your life, then you need to somehow begin to notice the voices that drive you to do everything that you think you should do in order to prove your worth to something else externally. And begin to pay attention, oh, what is it that I want? And maybe even deeper and more relevant now, what are my intentions? What am I ready and willing to do? Just because I want something doesn't mean that I'm ready. Right? So we come back to like, okay, what are my intentions now? Okay, so let's pause there for a moment. Let's take a breath. Riff, how you doing back there?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
So since you're there, I'm gonna pick on you just to say a few words about what you heard that resonated with you.
I think what Leng mentioned earlier is resonating with what I am going through pretty well right now. I've been 5 years out of school, and the schedule now has just become very, very busy, right? And I'm running a company that have about 30 people under me, so 30 or 40 people under me, and every day it requires a lot of thinking, a lot of work, and a lot of attentions, right? And yeah, I have to every day is kind of like running and racing, and you go out when I and meet people within the same field that I am at the same stage of my life, the people that I hang out with, and so on. A lot of them are doing the same, are racing for the same thing, that for that drive to be successful, um, yeah, and I think we sit down here and talks a lot about the MBA program. Sometimes we can get kind of caught up in it, and it's not really something that we want. But I think we should stress the importance of what being realistic and what is being things that we have to do right now, right? To so that we can get more independence of what we aspire to do, right? I think yeah, I mean, for example, like I set myself up to this busy schedule, to running these entrepreneurial efforts, such that hopefully it will turn into a success, made that through money or through impacting, giving jobs to other people. So hopefully, in 3 or 4 years, if it turns out to be successful, then I would have more independence to do other things. Yeah, that's my take on it. But yes, right now I am in the full mode Singaporean racing.
How come? We are the most successful country.
And then yeah, and I think we can only come out of it if we have been in there, right? But then again, that's the question of what is there, when is it? Right?
Indeed. One way to say you have.
But I don't think right now. I don't think I am in there yet, right? So like we cannot really come out of it if you're not really in there.
Yeah. So you're all putting your foot in the Singapore paradigm. It can also be called the American individualist paradigm, right? Or the striving paradigm, or the achievement paradigm. Whatever it is, you're putting your foot into it. And the question is not about whether you should or should not. I personally think it's a great experience to do it. The question is for how long and why. And so just to put two other pieces of vocabulary into the room so we can use it, right? And it's the distinction between hygiene factors and happiness factors. So a reference to Claire Christensen, who wrote the book Innovator's Dilemma, teaches at Harvard Business School, but also wrote another book called How Will You Measure Your Life? He didn't invent it, but that's a great book to just pick up. And hygiene factors are the things we need in order not to be unhappy. In other words, what you need to keep the place clean. But simply keeping this house clean doesn't make it beautiful. So simply by having hygiene factors doesn't mean that you actually have success factors. So your hygiene factor may be you need at least $100,000 in your first job in order to be not unhappy. It's not the same thing as fulfillment. Or maybe it is important to go to a brand name firm because you know yourself that some status is important, you like some praise. But it's a hygiene factor. So we're not to be unhappy. It's not the same as, oh, maybe really happy. And what I've noticed of myself and others, and Clay points it out, is the problem begins when we just go from hygiene factor to hygiene factor to hygiene factor. And it's just a continual end series of all the things not to be unhappy. And the time to spend on what makes one really happy is lost. I think what is really beautiful and powerful is that through SEALNet, we have created some foundational experiences in the past of deep fulfillment. So that becomes one way to say, oh, I've had a different feeling about what it means to be fulfilled. Now, to be careful, you don't want to repeat everything you did when you were 17 years old, right? We're not talking about that kind of literal repetition. But it's a check-in now. I think what we've done for each other over the years, not just really each other, you've done it for me as much as we've done it for each other, is we've given ourselves these experiences of coming alive.
Can I just add to your point about the hygiene factor? There's a social impact investor I really admire. His name is Bobby Turner, and I got to hear him speak a couple of times last week. And one of his punchlines is, like, we're human beings. Everybody's going to have some form of misery. What wealth guarantees is a more comfortable form of misery. So you might as well be wealthy while you're being miserable. But beyond the comfort, that's where you need to seek something else.
Yeah. And then just to tie up the last point before we jump into this model, why I wanted to share with you the question around should, want, and intention, because it's actually for you all to begin to test out for yourself what's running, who's running my life.
Yeah.
Right? What voices are running decisions that I'm making? And so what you make, for some of you, I keep hearing the struggling, like, you know, I want to do this, and my family said this, and I should be doing this, but there's another voice, inner voice that said this, and then other people keep giving me all this advice, and the more I get more advice, the more confusing I get. Right? And that's actually a normal wrestling with yourself, partly because you're right now trying to figure out how do I make choices that comes from this place of belonging and being socialized, but also shifting from that to this new place of how do I authorize my life. Up to this point, someone else have helped authorize, have conditioned me and give me externally give me authority for my life. But how do I shift from that to how do I authorize my own choices?
Can I help with that? So let's take the question about romance and marriage, okay? So let's just bring this room. What are some of the shoulds that you have in your head, or you know that your peers have in your head, or especially as Asians even, the should? Around marriage and girlfriend, boyfriend. What are some of the shoulds?
Just throw it out.
Just throw it out here. Not be your own, but you know it's true. You know, it's a socialized voice, right?
Compromise.
Compromise. You should compromise when you think about marriage. Yeah, compromise. Okay.
Should communicate.
Okay, you should communicate.
Sacrifice.
You should always sacrifice for someone you like. Right? I mean, there's even a basic one, right? I should get married by the time I'm 30. For Chinese women these days, right? 25! It just keeps on going, the discount rate, right? I should get married by 25, right? And then the other one is, you shouldn't date before you go to university, right? You shouldn't get married before you have a degree. But after you have a degree, you should start
Why haven't you
Right? That's the should.
You shouldn't move in before you get married.
You shouldn't move in before you get married. Yes.
So out of those.
Okay. Should find someone with a stable income, or university degree, from a good family. All the shoulds. Should. Okay. Then, what are some of the wants that you hear people say? I want. I want a really sexy guy, or I want someone.
Leng was a sexy guy. Okay, what do you
I think that's fair. You want something who's good looking.
Yeah, I want someone who's good looking, right? I want someone who can communicate. I want somebody who will be nice to me. What? I want someone who shares my values, right? So it's a bit deeper. I want someone who shares my values. And as Home said, it's a bit in the future because you don't have it yet, right? It's in some ways closer, deeper, more authentic than the shoulds, but a bit distant because we can't really do too much about it except get into speed dating or something like that, right? But at least you're clearer. This is what I want. I want someone kind. I want someone, whatever it is you want. Now, if you turn it to I intend, right, or my intentions are, then that's something that you have far more influence and control and choice over. So an example is, I intend to be friendly to, a potential date. Right? So you intend to be friendly. You can be friendly.
Rit, you about to say?
Yeah, I mean, I intend to meet more people so that I have more options to meet the right person.
Right. I intend to meet more people. And when I'm meeting more people, I intend a certain state of mind, right? So then what can you, for example, intend when you're meeting new people?
Be more open-minded.
Yes.
I intend to be more open-minded.
So intention is actually more a state of being and who you are, who you're choosing to be. Okay? So let's just let all of that settle there. What we're going to dive in actually is a model called courageous conversation. We'll start with the word courage. The word courage is, the root word is from ke, which is the heart, right, of your heart. And so we'll spend some time having that conversation with each other. And the question is, what's on your heart, what's in your heart, what's written on your heart. It's somewhat open-ended for you to ask yourself, okay? And we'll spend some time with that. And then after that, we'll look at three aspects of, sort of three pillars of this model. One is around rigor, and relevance, and relationships, okay? So we're going to focus on those three after we spend a little bit of time kind of meditating, maybe some journaling on what's on your heart.
What's in your heart?
What's in your
What is in your core?
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying with
what's
the
at your
word
core.
heart and core and the French word cœur.
Okay, so let's just sit and for those of you who want to journal, you can journal. For those of you better at just breathe into your heart and connect with both the physical and also the metaphysical part, you can also do that. So let's just spend a few minutes in silence for you to journal and ask yourself, what's in my heart? And someone had framed it like this, and it was helpful for me, is if there was something written on your heart, what would it say? So please begin. We'll spend maybe just 5 minutes meditating on that. What's that my core? And perhaps what of your core is also related to what breaks your heart. And now just keep breathing. Breathing into your body, breathing into your chest. Your So we're gonna spend a few minutes for you to break into small groups, in group of 3. Okay, so there might be a group of 2, and take some time, kind of like do some deep listening to each other. And the invitation for you is at the end of the conversation, come up with like a few words that sort of distill what's in your heart. Like if you were to put like a little sign, I'm going to give you each a sign, and you're going to write a few words that describe
What is your core?
what's in your core, how you
What's your
describe
core?
that in a few words. Okay, now let's begin. Let's 1, 2, 3, one group, 1, 2, 3, the other group, 1, 2, and then 1, 2.
Well, no, let's include the people online.
And then
So I think 2 people with 1 person online, 2 people with 1 person online. So we have 2 online, right?
Keen.
Riff and who?
Keen.
Keen.
Yeah.
Hey, hi Keen.
You have to unmute yourself.
Hey. So I suggest 2 people who want to go with Riff.
you cannot break them.
No, just get them to Skype and go into a different room and have that
Is
conversation.
that easy to do?
That's easy.
Yes.
Okay.
So who wants to go with Riff?
2 people.
2 people.
I'll go with somebody else with
I can go.
Okay, 2 of you with Riff. All right. And then 2 of you with Keen.
Who would like to go with King?
No, I jump at once now.
Okay,
2
Alice
and
Pao.
Pao. Okay, with Keen. Great.
Okay,
All right.
so we're gonna break into small group for about 15 minutes. Each of you have about 5. You talk for a while and you get some reflection, and then see if you can distill it into a small label of about 3 words of what's in your heart.
3 words.
Yes, 3, 4 words. Okay, so let's do that.
Then for group with Keen, you can use my laptop. Just call Keen.
Rick, do you have 15 minutes? Or do you have...
Yes.
Okay, well, I think
you can use
Quinn
that,
will
right?
help us figure out how to Skype you.
Or you can use
You can
that.
use that, and then Keen will join another.
Okay, Keen can join another hangout.
Yeah.
And then the rest of you can
Okay, let's do quick.
find a place in the house. You'll ring a bell with a 15 minutes left.
Wait, but which room am I?
I can abandoning you.
What's up, yeah?
Okay, just call me. Okay.
Maybe one group can go into the far end bedroom, one group can go upstairs, who will ring the bell. Okay.
How are we doing this? Because
Ken, I think they're Skyping from another computer in another room.
Yeah, Alice will call you.
And then you just temporarily step out of this hangout and step back on later.
okay. So I'll be on Skype.
Yep.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So Kin is going.
Yep.
Hey guys.
Hi, Ren's name is.
Hello. Hey.
First time meeting.
Remind me of remind me of you guys' names again?
Yeah.
Yuan. What?
Carmela.
Carmela. Okay. You guys are from MIT?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 2012.
I'm 2015.
Oh, okay. I was 2010, Stanford.
Nice. The same year as like Ping, right?
I'm sorry?
Who was in Stanford during your batch?
I was I think it was Kin and Laura,
Oh, Laura.
Sharon,
Mhm.
and who else? A lot of people are, you know those guys?
Yep.
Like Ryan.
Those guys.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing now?
I'm working.
Well, you're still in school.
Oh no, I just graduated in June.
Oh, so you're looking for a job.
I'm working in trading in New York.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I just started business school after 3 years working in a social impact consulting firm. And I'm a first year at Wharton. I'm actually going to be in Vietnam, so I might reach out. We should meet up for.
Of course.
Yeah, I know
Hit me up.
quite well. I know Saigon quite well.
Are you from Vietnam?
Yeah, I'm Vietnamese. I was born there, but I moved to the States since I was 10. But my husband, and we met in Vietnam, so I've been going back very often.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm based from Saigon.
Yep, that's where it's at. That's where I'm
Yeah, that's where I am right now. Okay, let's jump into this discussion. Who wants to go first?
Take us off.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay. So what's in my heart, I think it relates back to the question this morning. I think right now it's the family, right? And the friends. I think I am, we are all doing this. We are, we're working hard. We are, you go to business school, I start a business. We're all doing this so that we gain independence, right? Financially and, in whatever, so that we have the independence and we can help people around. I can help people around me in terms of family and friends. And those are strictly in my heart. And what? Yeah, I'm in a call. Okay, 10 minutes. I'm sorry about that. And then, so the second question was the urge, right?
I think this conversation's all focused on everything that's in your heart.
Yeah.
Oh, in my heart. So I think it's also the urge to, right now it's the urge to find out who I really am and to be able to express who I really am to the people around me without having a sense of insecurity, without having a sense of drawbacks, right? And I think it's also a stage where I'm trying to be as comfortable about myself as possible and trying not to get the social norms or the opinions surrounding me affecting who I really am as a person, right? It takes time. This process, it takes sometimes. I think what what I learned is that, you know, if you ask me these questions a few years earlier, it's like a lot of the decision that I made was based on the people around me, what they think about friends' opinion. But as you go further in life, then you kind of feel like you're beginning to feel like actually many decisions, it really up to you to make that kind of decisions. And then a lot of the opinions that surrounding you, it can also clouds your decision. It can also clouds the way that you go through lives. And at the end of the days, the decision that you make is you. Is you. And then the way that people perceive you, the way that other people perceive you could be temporary, but if you are true and comfortable with yourself, I think that is something that will make you become a better person as you're going through the stage, right? So two things in my heart. One is very simple, basic things like family, friends, going through all of these for family and for friends, right? And then the second thing is the urge to become true to ourselves and to not be clouded by other people's opinion. Two things. All right.
You're gonna go first, and then second.
Okay. What's in my core? I guess like if I were to distill it in maybe like a few words, it would be like to be able to add to others' happiness, to help make others happy. Like I know that there's like a sort of connotation of like quote unquote a people pleaser, but there's a difference between like making doing something just so that people will approve versus doing something for other people's like genuine happiness and not just like approval. And that's like sort of something that I like at my core, like everything like I keep everything that I do, like I keep coming back to is sort of has that as its foundation. So that's sort of what I feel.
Anything else in your heart? Anything heavy, hard?
Sort of my family. I guess like things that I guess like at the core, right? One way I framed this also was sort of like what, like if I were to die right now, like what would I want to like be able to do? And one of them is to like die having like help like make other people happy, and the other one is to die not having disappointed my parents. Like to die at one point it was like to die with my parents proud of me, but now it's like to die and not have it with like my parents not being disappointed. So something like that.
So if you distill it down to like the little buckets of what you talked about, what would be kind of the keywords around that?
Keywords, make other people happy and not disappoint my parents.
I think quite complimentary. Like two lovers. All right. Thanks for sharing, both of you guys. A lot of the things, particularly what you shared, really resonates with me. What's in my heart is first and foremost living so that I'm always happy, like just truly happy. And I think like over the years, I think a lot about like living for, like my dad growing up always taught me there are two types of people. You know, you always hear this across anything. Two types of people who live for themselves and people who live for others. And first I'm like, okay, sure, like, that sounds really great. But as I go up, I learned that you have to first know who you are and what you want and live true to that before you can even live for anybody else. Because like without truly loving yourself, you don't have the capacity to open up your heart to love other people. So in my heart, there's like always being authentic to what I want and adjusting what I want with my experiences, because what I want changes all the time. What makes me happy changes. Second thing that's in my heart is community, and community including just everybody that I've opened up my heart to love, including my parents and my friends. Particularly in the recent year, I feel like I've started to see my parents really as companions rather than family, like real true companions who have faults, who have perfections, who have like everything any other companion would in my life. So I've grouped them all together. And that's in my heart because I love spending time with people. I love just creating a space where people come together and hang out and just effortlessly be themselves and not say anything and still be fulfilled. So those are the two things that are in my heart. So self-awareness and being a part of and creating community.
Sweet.
All right. I see you're heading back.
Yeah.
Stay healthy. Stay busy. Let's stay healthy.
Oh yeah, you're flying to San Francisco, right?
No.
Right now.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna reconvene back soon? I want to say a few things.
Too soon. I think it'll be like 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know how long.
Okay. So can you guys do me a favor?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanna, say that when they come back, just I need to fly to SF now, and then I wanna say that SEALNet is a good platform for us to kind of come back and rethink about who we are, where we're heading, despite our busy schedule. And I really appreciate that, and I appreciate meeting you guys, Yuan and Camelia. Oh God.
Carmela.
And Yun.
Yeah, right. And then, yeah. So say a few words to the rest of the group, and then yeah, good meeting you guys, and hit me up when you're in Saigon.
All right.
Have a safe flight.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Ruth.
Okay. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
I don't think we stopped. So I think we want to also cover Rit's two things too. Ritz, he said family.
Family and the urge to like stay true to yourself without like others' opinions like clouding your judgment.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
You mentioned like as this what was it around this year you started to see your parents more as companions, like how, in what way?
So my parents have always kind of been that way, but I think I appreciate and see them more as that. Like they've always given me the opportunity to see them more as companions and friends than like authorities or figures in my life. So like, for example, growing up, like we moved to the States when I was 10. Typical immigrant family story. My parents worked really hard, continue to this day. But the thing I guess is slightly different is like my parents never told me what to do or who to become. The only thing they said is like always value and prioritize hard work and learning. Like they didn't say like what degrees I have to do, just always be learning is what they taught me. And so it was really easy talking to them growing up about anything except boyfriends.
Just always be learning.
Anything with boyfriends. But in the recent year, I think they've come to better understand me as an adult. And a couple of examples, like my parents traveled to Vietnam for the first time in 6 years 2 months ago. And it was also their first time meeting Vin's family.
Oh, sorry, where are your parents?
My parents are in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so first time meeting Vin's family and first time being in northern Vietnam. And so they came back, like really understanding the values, the family values of the person I've chosen to be my life companion. And I think through that, they saw me more clearly, like my adulthood and my values more clearly. And then like even just last week, I had this like really warm conversation with my mom where she was like, I look around at all the other parents with kids your age in our community. And she's like, I'm so proud that like you have this like conviction of what you want to do and you're like are consistent on that path. And I feel like you just like there's some things you really want to achieve in life and you just go at it. And she was like, I didn't really quite understand what it is you wanted earlier, but I feel like over the years as you've explained it to me, like I like now like start to get it. And like I try to educate them too on what my path is. I like teach them, like particularly my mom, I teach her like the basic principles of like why I care about housing, like why housing in Asia, and why I'm going to business school instead of design school, and like why I chose Mint. So like I really break it down and like educate them on my decisions. And so finally, it just seems like we really get each other as people. And I know, like the past year, I also realized like I understand their faults better as people because like nobody's perfect, including your parents, and I see them more humanly for it. So yeah, it's been like, yeah. But I think it's hard. Parents always do a very hard thing. They're also a really rare relationship because nobody else in the world can have that much like side by side exposure.
Yeah.
How are you and your parents? How do you guys communicate nowadays? Or like not how, but like how's the communication between you guys?
I guess we never, it's like more of the typical like stereotypical Asian family where like the parents don't really like communicate to the it's like how like people say like in Chinese families the parents communicate their love by working hard. Mm-hmm. And that's how they show their love to their kids. Mm-hmm. And like I understand like when I got to MIT and like I can't remember exactly when, maybe it was my junior year, like I think deciding like I'm not entirely sure. But like I understood more like my parents' decision, or like appreciated more my parents' decision because they were both they met in law school, mm-hmm. But they after law school they got married and decided to not take the bar to start their own business because mm-hmm. they wanted to provide for the family, and like I sort of understand the sacrifice a bit more in some sense. It's like my dad and I had like so like they're both like the law type, I guess. My dad much more outspoken, and like I sort of inherited that from him, and so we have a lot of our conversations are more like they're more like debates and arguments than anything, than actually like conversations. And sometimes it's difficult because like every conversation we have usually turns into something like him saying that no, your argument isn't valid, that kind of thing. So it's a bit difficult to, I don't know, that's sort of the relationship we have. My mom doesn't really like looking back, like my mom, I realized like never really talked that much. But then like more recently I've been talking more to my aunts and my uncles, and I realized like my mom's family is very different from my dad's family, and then my mom was like in a much more easygoing family, and like I talk to my aunts on my mom's side, like we joke around a lot, and like it just felt weird, like I would think about like why can't I joke around that much with my mom? Like maybe like when I'm with my mom with my mom's side of the family, then like that's possible. But like with my mom and then with my dad, they're like not so much sometimes. Like I don't know, out of us four siblings, I would say that I'm the most distant from the family.
And how like
how old are you both?
Yeah, Ken went off into the other hangar and Ruth went to the airport.
Oh.
But we finished.
You finished?
Yeah.
Got it.
Sorry.
Out of the four, how old are you?
My brother is 4 years older than me.
Mhm.
Then it's me.
Mhm.
I have one sister younger, 1 year younger, and then another sister 3 years younger.
Mhm.
So I'm like second. I'm the first one to go to the US. So my brother wasn't an honor student.
Mhm.
It was sort of like my parents like they weren't very strict with my brother,
Mhm.
and he didn't do that well in school.
Interesting. This is the firstborn
Yeah,
and a son. Interesting.
I think it was because like my brother didn't do that well in school, so they were very strict with me.
Mm-hmm.
So we have like a weird sort of
They
relationship.
over-calibrated.
In some ways, like I'm thankful for it because then my two sisters, like it was much easier for them.
Mm.
So like there's I like being an older sister.
Mm-hmm.
I think partly like trying to compensate for not having been a good one, like when they were much younger. So like I console myself, or like I'm okay with that. Like my parents were harsher on me because it helped like my two younger sisters. So that's sort of the dynamic. I don't talk to them very often. My they've multiple times almost called the police because I did.
So that would include both your sisters and your parents. You don't talk to your parents that often.
Yeah, I don't talk to my parents. I talk to my sisters more often now. I'm actually like very thankful for like one is SEALNet because like my sister joined the project and like SEALNet like has like a very like safe space, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's a very strong shared experience.
Yeah. So it's like the first time that like my sister and I actually like did something together because the sister 1 year younger than me tried to do a lot of things different from me because they did a lot of comparisons back in school. Like our school was like a 13-year thing. There was no like separate. Yeah. So a lot of people compared. So we would do like different things all the time. So SEALNet was sort of the first thing that we actually did together. And then my youngest sister, the two of them were much closer. But the youngest sister is now in MIT. She's a sophomore. So now we talk a lot about like MIT, she's course 6, she's taking like this class which I like graded for before, like how should I do it? So it's like a lot better now. It's great.
I'm afraid Biscuit is going to be gone after this weekend. He's going to wander into somebody's car.
There's a competition
for Goodbye.
It was so sad a while ago. He was like crying. You could hear him.
He was outside the room.
Yeah, he was outside the room because we closed the door.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Yeah. His greatest tragedy is separation.
You can give them showers. Yeah. Let's get a copy.
yeah, I got it. How old is he?
3 years.
This is 3 years old, right?
Just over 3.
How many years is that?
In dog years, they say times 7.
He feels quite like he feels chirpy but mature.
Yeah. 3 for a schnauzer is still, he'll be a puppy some days and then more adult other days.
They live till 15.
Just depends on the dog. Anywhere
Puberty.
12 to 15.
Puberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, ask the master.
Teenager,
Can he be
college
fed?
student.
Can he be fed or no?
Let me take a look. Yeah, I think maybe orange. Somebody Google it quickly. Sometimes I guess wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, I think orange is okay.
Yeah, definitely not chocolate.
Not chocolate.
Not chocolate, not grapes. Those are the two I always remember.
Oh,
Grapes
grapes?
are
Why not?
raisins. I don't know. They can't digest it. It's poisonous.
I'm sure he ate a piece of butternut squash off before.
You want?
Who else is there?
Yeah, he loves that.
No.
Is that Kin?
Sounds like
buff boy.
He ate it?
only Kim and us.
He did eat it.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Is this Kin?
Hello, hi home. How's it going?
Hey, haven't seen you in ages. Where are you?
I am in Frankfurt.
In Frankfurt. So this is 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock,
It's 9:30 at night.
9:30.
Yep.
Here.
So I might not be able to join you the whole time, whole afternoon, by the way, guys. But I will join for as long as I could.
Wonderful.
It's good to see you.
Great.
It's really good to see you.
Keen. We should catch up.
Yep, definitely. I'll send an email. We'll get a call.
Reply to my Facebook
Good.
message, Ken.
I did. You check it yet?
No,
Did someone pick up the?
Is that one?
you can see.
Yes. Close the door at the last person. Okay, so we have some plan for you guys. A combination of making sure that you guys get to share what you need to share here, then actually also send you guys on a walk outdoor, because we've been indoor all day and it's so beautiful outside. And so we want to, the next piece of sharing is somewhat energetic, but at the same time give you enough so that you can go for a walk and continue the conversation.
Yeah, and then you we'll get two of you to pair up with Keen so you can go on a walk. Right. I don't want to leave you out, Keen.
That's okay. Well, I might not be able to join the whole way through the walk anyway, so it's okay.
Ken, what do you say?
I'd say don't worry about it. I might not be able to join while you guys are out walking anyway, because it's getting later. So I'll join for as long as you can. When you guys break out for the walk, then I'll probably chow for the night.
Yes, that sounds fine too, and we'll catch up with you later. Okay.
Absolutely.
Each person just take maybe 1 or 2 pieces just in case. Ken, I'm just passing out some post-it note, but you can just write it on a piece of paper. If you have, I assume you have some pen already.
And Keen, while you're there, I just want to acknowledge that I get to reunite with people who are part of the Leadership Summit. So thanks for having done that, 3 years ago? 2 years ago? Oh, okay.
you're the key personnel for Wireless 13 are sitting with you there as well, you know?
Yeah.
A few of them are there.
I know.
Yeah, you got you there, you got Tien there at the very least, and of course Tran is there. I don't see anybody else here, but so those are the key personnel, not just me. But thank you.
All right, so there are some iteration to this, so there's no right or wrong. So it doesn't mean that if you write it down, you're stuck with that. But I would like for you just to, on a piece of paper, write down sort of the gist of what you got out of that conversation, of what's on your heart, or what's written on your heart. Okay, so a few words of what that is. All right. So we're gonna go around and each person just take a few minutes maybe 2-3 minutes or so. Share the conversation that you had and what insight you get out of it, and what's written on the card for you. Okay, and know that we'll get to deepen this as we talk. So who would like to start first?
I can start.
Mm-hmm.
So you say what we talk about with the 3 words, other words that we have.
And speak so that Kim can hear us.
Hello, Kim. Yeah, so we have been talking, you mean like for a while, all the conversation that we have, right?
Not so much like the conversation about what other people said, but what you got out of it for yourself, and how is it connected to what's on the.
Yeah, I think it seems that from the conversation, at least in the group that I was in, one part that we have in common is there is some certain, we kind of like at a point of a dilemma, but not too late, where we're thinking that maybe we can make a change from our decision making, what we decide to do next. And that can be, for Ted Hazelwood, that can be a little bit scary because there's so many options. How do you know which one is a good one to go? And there's a trade-off. For example, for me, I am actually in a place that I'm really happy with right now. Like, I don't think I am in a puddle as much. But I want to have some change in the sense that I want to create more instant impact instead of living in an ivory tower where we have impact 15 years later. But to do that doesn't mean, is it the best way that I can contribute? And that is scary. And on another part is the problem that I am solving. Like, I'm not solving world hunger. I want to help people enjoy their life more by instigating creative activities and trying to make connection between people. But that's not world hunger. Is that a cause worth going for? So the words that I have is enriching life, supporting creativity, and encouraging connection.
Oh, wow. Supporting life, encouraging connection, and
enriching life, supporting creativity, and encouraging connection. Do I have to say take a deep breath?
Yes, good.
Take a deep breath with me.
Okay, so just let it hold that lightly, and later you will have some conversation to deepen that, and perhaps even time it more so that it can just come out in like 3 or 4 words. Okay. All right, you get to pick the next person.
I'll actually go for Riz, who is not able to join us, but had shared some words to pass on. Riz said that he's really grateful for the SEALNet community, where we all have some sort of like base shared experience that we get each other, and it's a community that even years later he's able to turn back and like just really personally connect with, and he's really appreciative for having that opportunity. And the 2 things that Ruth shared also resonate with me too. So the 3 words are self, community, and search. So I'll say what those mean for me and then loop in what Ruth shared. So for self, which is not Ruth's was community and search. For self, it's at the end of the day always making sure I'm happy, because I deeply believe that if I'm not happy, I'm not able to make anybody else happy. And I believe in productive selfishness, where like you have to really be aware of the self and feed the self, and only through that can you be selfless. And so I put myself first and foremost in my heart. And then community, companions, including my parents, who I was sharing that have become my companions over the years. And so all these companionships, the sense of community, being in it, creating it, and being a part of it is something that really enriches my heart. Like sharing a meal is one of my absolutely favorite activities in the world. Making a meal and then sharing it. And then search is I think goes back to the self community, constantly adjusting, like readjusting what you learn, your new values, so that whatever carries you forward is consistent with who you are today rather than who you were like yesterday. So Ruth's also shared about community, and also search like for him community is his family, and for the search part is going through the cycle, being in the race, so that he can make sure that he has the tool set to then go out and do what's impactful. So those are the two things that I just heard. Please take a deep breath with me.
Thank you.
Kevin, can I invite you to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I think I was discussing this with Lena and Ivana, and I think all three of us share pretty similar things in our hearts. One of them is unconditional love. I was sharing with them how I had this crazy dream of living in a world, a utopia where everyone just loves each other. And that's not how the world works currently, for sure. Fortunately or unfortunately, we don't know, but Lena also shared the same passion, dream as well. And so that's one word, unconditional love. And then as for myself personally, as what you said, I also believe I have to be content with myself before I can spread that feeling of contentedness with other people. And so the way I can achieve that, I think, is by having the freedom to enjoy the things that I enjoy doing, the freedom to be able to do the things that I enjoy doing. And those things are the things that I've mentioned for like admiring beauty and those kind of stuff. So really those two things, freedom to enjoy and also unconditional love are the things in my heart.
Freedom to enjoy and unconditional love.
Let's take a deep breath.
I want to check in with those of you hearing in about self-contentment, taking care of self first. Who here resonates with that and find that difficult? Okay. So the rest of you, it doesn't resonate, or resonates, but it's not difficult.
I think for me specifically, at one point it resonates really well, and now it wasn't difficult. Now it becomes difficult.
So it does resonate to want that, and it's difficult to want to do that. Take care of oneself.
It resonates back then in the sense that I am able to take care of myself and was able to do whatever I'm really passionate in, whatever I really enjoy doing, and being able to have what I call relationship with the people I care about, and it becomes difficult because of outside factors.
Work and demands.
So Kevin, you pick the next person.
Tran?
So my three words are risk or take risk, learning, and will. Another, so to wrap up in my sentence, I think these are the qualities that makes me who I am today. Another I noticed, I feel like this can make a sentence that not very like grammatically correct, but sounds right to me, like learning will take risk and take risk will learning. So I feel like I feel like that's how it has always been, but I'm not aware of it until lately, especially starting from this year, when I start to have to think more about the future and who I am, and thinking more on my own about what I have to do, what I have to choose, I realized that first, I'm very eager to learn in different environments with different people, and it's what makes me happy in an environment, whether even if the experience may not be that great. And then will, because I has only been the person, I have only been the type of person who, if I want to do something, I push myself really hard to achieve that. And so far, I'm happy to say that that will has not disappointed me, and I have not disappointed that will too. So I think it's just in my blood, I guess. And then I have a motto for myself, which is if others can do it, then I can do it too. But I think I should change that, because I feel like that sentence means that I have to model myself and other people. Right. So I'm like shaping it, I'm changing it, but I get the choice, so I want to push myself. And the last one is taking risk. I feel like for me to be here today is a result of different risky choices, of dropping out of our Vietnamese university to focus on applying to universities, of applying to Amherst even when, like writing an Amherst supplement essay even when I'm like 2 days late, of applying to SEALNet even when I only have like one hour to finish my applications. And then last summer, this past summer, I was in China, and I also like actively push myself to taking different risky actions, and I never looked back on this thing, and I feel like that's just getting a vulnerable person with all these decisions. So yeah, I think these three words really. Now that I'm internalizing more thinking about it, when you say that, well, these are the core values, the internal factor that no matter what external factor is gonna be, it will only mix who you are, and I think these are the three things that resonate with me. So let's take a deep breath together.
Kin, are you ready to share?
You're muted.
Sure. Yes. What's in my heart is probably a bit I want to encourage something. What?
Hold the microphone steady, it's looking in and out.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's better. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. The biggest thing in what's in my heart now, it's probably more of a state in which I am in, rather than a sort of a clearness of what really sits in my core. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I'm not, if I'm not making sense, but at the end of the day, I know I want to make impact, right? That's definitely there, right? The creating change, making impact. Facing as a problem now is I don't know what that impact means. And over the past years, I've been struggling with sort of a confusions of what that impact would mean for me and where I would go, right? Especially now when I'm in a position where I have a potential to create. I have a potential and am on a path or at a position where I can make impact to air traffic management world or industry in Thailand, in Asia Pacific. But at the same time, I'm also missing a more kind of ground level impact that we are used to working with in SEALNet, right? And it becomes sort of a questions almost all the time of what am I doing, right? Flying at 35,000 feet, right? When I used to work within SEALNet community, with the work that we've been doing with Tien, with Young, with you guys, creating impact on a daily basis. Each time we go on a project, each time we do a retreat, and so on, right? Having to step away from that and then you walk into a different arena where it's a different and political arena where making impact or creating change it's a very, let's just say I'm not in the same environment of people wanting the same thing like what we are in right now, right? And there are some ugliness that I start to see, I guess, and perhaps it's because maybe I was young earlier that I never see it, right? So that's sort of what sits inside here, inside the core, inside the back of my mind of this confusion as to who I am, this desire to create impact and be the change maker.
Ken,
and also,
Ken,
yep.
I'm going to jump in for a moment. I hear what you said about some confusion and you're in a different environment, and you use multiple times the word wanting to make impact. What jumped out at me, and it's actually in the form of a question, making impact for the sake of what?
I don't know. It's a feeling that it fills me with when I was doing it, right? And I'm pretty sure that everybody else in the room probably can answer that question with the feeling as well, right? I mean.
So here's my invitation for you to just sit and continue to kind of breathe through this conversation, because making impact is very easy. I could turn right now and hit Jung really hard, and that would be an impact. But then the question is, for the sake of what that I just hit her, right? And so it's important to know what is the intent that I have in making that impact, because it could, we're making impact all the time, whether we're conscious of it or not, and then also impact for the sake of what. Otherwise, we'll be just hitting one thing after another and not quite sure why we're making the impact. Okay? So will you just take some more breath, and then we'll come back to you in a moment, okay? Is that all right? Tin?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, okay. I'm gonna just to move things because I'm aware the sunlight is moving down. So how about Leng and, you're next.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So the 3 words that I have written down is unconditional love, freedom, and adventures. So unconditional love, I think is the ability to be with someone for who they are and for who they are not. And it is without any conditions or expectations or the sense of ownership, jealousy. That's why it's called unconditional. So I think it's very beautiful, and it's also the driving force for me to reach out to myself, that I need to have unconditional love for myself first. And then I can also have that kind of choice towards others. And to make it as a loving place. As a loving place. No sense of insecurity. So that is unconditional love. The sense of freedom for me is to do, to try out, to fall, to trip over something, to do it for the sake of joy out of it, for my own sake of learning and growth. It's the freedom to make a choice, to make a decision, to think, and to act, and to analyze and evaluate it myself. So that is the sense of freedom. Another sense of adventure for me is to reach out to something that is not within my comfort zone, to see what is out there, and to try different possibilities of my self-images and versions of myself. And so that is adventure, and to explore myself more. Oh, let's take a breath together.
Yeah, so some of the themes that I heard, that I'm hearing, are the themes of just to put vocabulary into the space, right? The themes of selfish, selfless, and selfful. Selfful was a word a coaching teacher of ours, now dead, gave us. We often feel like, oh, am I being selfish? Or I have to be selfless. But selfful is the place where we come from, which is generative. To your word, taking care of myself, but not from a selfish place. And another theme that I'm hearing in terms of finding the core and how to discover that is, I hear the word try, experiment, discover. And I just want to note that that is a very different learning project than the one we have all been raised in or conditioned in the societies and families we've come from, where if you joined this program and went to that school and did that job, the program is there, and then it ends, and then after that it's really just experiments. And I realized, like at 37, when I finished HBS, it was the beginning of like very conscious experimentation. So a sense of feeling incompetent, like, geez, I should be able to do this much better. Why am I not? Well, as Wesley said, he's been in school 20 years, and I've gone to very good schools for, 15. They don't exactly teach experiments, right? They don't exactly teach fast prototyping. Maybe you do faster prototyping with software, but not with your own life. Yeah. So if there is a certain sense of, why am I feeling so lost? How could I be feeling so lost? It's perhaps you've only had 2 years of doing it, because until then it was an educational program, not an experiment. So we're now all in an experiment together, which speaks to the piece of relationship that we're going to come up with, that these projects are best done with other people rather than solo.
Okay. Leng and, go ahead and pick the next person.
So my 3 words in conversation were empowerment, connection, and stories. And empowerment, when you say empowerment, I mean really, I guess there are different dimensions to empowerment, like really helping in yourself figure out who you are and what you really believe in, but also helping others, and really creating equal opportunities for everyone else. It could be like empowerment in terms of like education or equality, rights, but then combining that with connections, which I think is really important as well in terms of really getting everyone to see that we're all connected, and that we're all in the same road, same space, and despite all our cultural differences or different locations we are in, we still have to share a lot of the same values and have the same needs. And so being able to tie back to that, and then my third for these stories, using stories or other means of creative expression to really get to really see that and use that as an agent of change in terms of empowering other people and inspiring other people.
So, what's the three words again? Empowerment, connection, and story. Okay. Go ahead, who's next?
Are we gonna take the best?
Yes. You're gonna do whatever you want. Okay, we're gonna ask people to make it even a little shorter because each person will take 1 minute. Okay, you will have more conversation soon outside. So go ahead.
So who hasn't gone yet?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
So my words are contribute happiness and debt or gratitude, one of the two. So I realized that like everything that I do on a consistent basis just boils down to one of these two things. So my core, right? It's like I want to make an impact by like providing happiness to other people. It's different from just like pleasing other people, but like seeing them be genuinely happy. And then the other one was just debt or gratitude. I guess like I wanted to say debt at first, but like it partly has like a negative connotation, and some of it is also gratitude. So it's actually like to not disappoint my parents, but that's too long. And like I thought about like why do I not want to disappoint my parents? It's like more because I feel a sense of debt or gratitude to them that they gave me the gift of life, which like it's like nobody else can give that to me. So yeah, those are the two things that sort of like frame all of my decisions. 1 minute.
Thank you. Debt of gratitude. And what's the first one?
Contribute happiness.
Okay. Take a breath. Okay,
Yeah, when I thought of the word thinking about the heart, I was really feeling it, the heart here. And I thought of taking it out. And then I thought that it would die very, very soon if I take it out. And I thought that really, the first word I have come to mind was connection. Just because if I take it out, it will die. But it's also true for everything else I have done in my life. The connection I have been part of. And I love the word connection because there's no one person connection. And that just stay there and will always be there if my heart is alive. The second word is rather related to that is community. I think one beautiful thing about the heart that we talk about is that the heart can resonate, which is cool. And it has its own beat, but it can also resonate. And then I thought, oh, what resonate with what? With other hearts. And that just put everything together as a community. And then I love the word community a lot more than the word network. As much as a computer science student, there's a different. This I have to share. Someone just this is a lovely quote. He shared with me that if you want to know the difference between community and a network, ask your Facebook friends to clean your house. Yeah, so this community also very close to my heart. That's where the hearts are. And then the last word is learning. In the sense that Leng just mentioned about the kind of learning that we actually do when we try things and we learn. I think of the word learning, and learning is such a powerful thing that what we learn, we also change along with the learning that we have. And that to me cannot be closer than the heart, when it's something really deep down inside change. And I think I think all of us have that yearning for that kind of deep learning. And then so yeah, connection, community, and learning. And I try to bring the three of them together. It's like the breath.
So my 3 words were strength, kindness, and mirror. Strength in the sense that the heart has the capacity to expand and absorb the pain and suffering and other negative things of other people, and then just bring it in and contain it in a sense. And also, like, it has the strength to hold all of that inside without cracking or breaking itself. And then kindness in relation to how one treats other people, but also in how one treats oneself. So it links into having a sense of self-love and being able to attend to like your own personal needs while at the same time being kind to others. And then I chose mirror because I feel like the heart is at the core of the person, and so it's sort of like a mirror to their soul. And it's also sometimes it necessitates the removal of that initial barrier. Like it's also sort of like a mirror / window that you have to open that window before you can really peer into someone's soul and someone's essence.
So the first one I have here is passion. In a sense that it resonates with a lot of Jung's, Kevin's, Kim's, and a lot of other people's. It's very close to me in a sense that it's a concept of self-forming. I believe for even myself that following my passion and doing whatever I love to do is something that will make me happy. So that if I follow my passion and I make sure that I'm happy, people around me will be happy as well. So things that I've done, a sense of community. The reason why I'm here is because I'm passionate in making impact other people. And in a lot of ways in my life, I make sure that whatever I do, it connects back to what I'm passionate about. So I'm very passionate about solving problems, which is why I got into consulting. I'm very passionate about making a little bit of impact in other people's life, which is why I always every year I sign up to be a mentor for someone in SEALNet. And just doing that gives me a lot of joy when I see them at least grow a little bit because of my presence, or maybe not because of my presence, I don't know. But having that a little bit of impact in some other people's life is something that makes me really happy. And then that, I guess, goes to the second point, which is growth. Other thing that I strive for every single time is growing. Either it's learning to know more about myself, know a little bit more about what I want in life, where I want to be, or something as simple as growing skills, getting more skills that I'm good at, from not being able to speak in front of a lot of people to be able to actually speak what I feel, what I think, in front of all of you, and growing despite a lot of challenges in life, like what Leng said of being in a puddle. For me, I guess just to kind of a little bit, I'm doing something I really like. I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. It is I think what have the biggest growth I've learned in 1.5 years I'm out of college is that college and real life are very different, and you're not always surrounded by people who love you the way your friends or family love you. There are people out there who are not aligned with you in terms of what they want, which is why politics happen and things like that. So a lot of the growth I've learned from just being in a workforce is, people are not always in your best interest, and I learned to look out for myself.
So say what your 3 words again?
Yeah, so it's passion, growth, and family.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Let's take a breath together. Okay. So the next piece of work, getting you guys outside, is for you. And before we go, we'll check in with Kin, and then also let Kin go to bed because it's pretty late for Kin. But the next piece of work is for you to explore the.
We're going to check in with Kin.
Okay, Kin, you ready to share impact for the sake of what? And then we'll release you so you can go to bed.
I can't tell you what I'm thinking.
You what?
I'll send you an email on that. So
okay.
I'm not in a position, I'm not a place where I can do that. So.
Great. So you now have 2 partners, Kin's partner for this round. Who are you guys? The 2 that talk with Kin? 1. And okay, so Kin, your job is to follow up with Alice and Zoom. Pal. Follow up with Pal and Alice and ask them to hold space for you to talk this through when you are more at a different time. Okay? Are you willing? Kin?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay. So you guys follow up with Kin. Okay. All right, Kin. Good night.
We can stay on to listen.
Okay. Yeah. I know Kin will stay on.
Yeah, then it's good.
Okay, I'm a mother.
Yes.
Okay, so the next piece of work is to explore 3 questions. Okay, and you can explore 1 and then save the other 2 for later. You're going to go for a walk, and the question is, based on what's on your heart, how might you bring rigor to that? And rigor, how would you
rigor can mean focus to it. Right? So you want to bring kindness. Now, how can you bring rigor to your kindness? How can you bring focus to your kindness? How can you bring clarity to your kindness? Right? These words, clarity, focus, are part of rigor. How can you bring determination to your kindness?
So, so a kind of discipline.
How can you bring discipline to your kindness, for example?
So I'm thinking of Dave being a musician, and Dave have some. What would be one word for you, Dave? Say if you were to make up one word about why you do what you do.
About rigor.
Yes. So,
Communication.
communication. So, for example, so I imagine I'm making this up as an example. So for Dave, rigor comes from probably daily practice of some sort, right? Maybe ongoing training or learning would be another kind of things that he would bring rigor to it. Okay, so that's an example. So how would you bring rigor into what's on your heart or what's at your core? Okay. The next piece is relevance. How would you define relevance?
Yeah, so Yom was talking about I wanted to be focused on myself in a really good way. So that's relevant to what? And to what larger issues can that be connected to? How is that relevant for this time in your life?
So relevant for yourself?
How is that relevant for yourself?
Yeah.
How is that relevant? Focusing on yourself, which sounds like quite a selfish thing. But how can that be relevant to other people in a way that is constructive for them? What's the saliency there? How is it germane? How does it fit?
Okay.
And even say, you know, maybe you have someone who is a critic of that philosophy. Well, how can it actually be relevant for that person to actually serve that person or that issue? How do you make that really relevant to untangle some of the life choices you have to make? How is it relevant?
And some of you mentioned about different issues that you see in your life. For example, you know, people who getting so busy that they're lost track of friends and family, or seeing refugees issues. How is what in my heart can be relevant to those? So it's either relevant to yourself or relevant to others.
How can it be relevant to how things have broken your heart, right? How do you make that relevant? How is your core relevant to the heartbreak that you've seen or witnessed, or that you are experiencing, either inside of yourself or outside? How is this relevant? Of course, yes, that's it. Is it clear how we are working through the question?
Okay. And then the last piece is relationship. So how is, at your core, how is that connecting with relationships in your life? Your relationship with yourself, relationship with your immediate family, your relationship with your larger world, your relationship with your community. So different kinds of relationship comes into.
How does it impact those relationships? How do you want it to impact those relationships? Or turn it around, how can those relationships help strengthen your core?
Okay.
Can I ask something? So I was just thinking as you guys went through the three things, and then a lot of us have 2 or 3 words. Could we consider maybe choosing the most important word? Because then it becomes something more natural rather than like, oh man, I have 2 more words. How can I make it?
So that's already bringing rigor into your process, right? Choosing one and having focus, and finding the one that has the most relevance. Yeah.
So an example, I could share an example from me. Okay, when I did this exercise, I came up with cultivating organic heirloom human beings. Okay, so that was my phrase. cultivating organic heirloom human beings or people. And so, whatever words you have, if you can put it in some kind of who am I being, it might be helpful. Okay, so without giving you more instruction and stuff, I'm just going to give you guys a free time now. Their walking path across the street, beyond the house, across the street, you can walk there. Don't walk too far.
We haven't actually an issue with this being hunting season.
Okay.
Yes.
It is true. Forgot about that. We don't want you guys to get hunted.
That will not be good. That color is not good. So you can go walk if you have bright orange that you're going to walk in. These colors are actually not particularly great. So
What do you mean by hunting?
people are hunting deer and all of that.
If you walk in the woods, you look like deer, they'll hunt you.
Oh, wait, but then if blood orange, it's not.
No, as in your jacket color.
Your
Bright orange.
Bright
It's
orange.
like neon.
How about let me fix this very quickly. There's a walking path on the reservoir. How many of you in here have a car? One car, two cars?
Two.
Two cars. So 2 cars would take maybe all of you? Yeah. So I would say the path is 5 minutes away by car. You know where it is?
Is this by the pond?
Yeah, no. So I'm going to tell you. You go.
We'll drive. They get into the car. I'll lead them to where it is. They'll know how to come back, and they can walk along that path.
You're going to lead them?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just go in the car.
Okay, so then follow Leng.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go. And you
give time when you want them back.
Let's say you come back at 5:30. Okay.
What time is it? It's 4:17.
What exactly are we gonna do?
You're gonna go for a walk and have the conversation around rigor, relevance, and relationship.
In
your small group?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to be in the same group? Or you want a new group?
Also smaller groups, not the whole.
So how many of you here now?
Just 10 of us.
So go in a pair.
Okay, go in a pair.
But then,
Okay, pick a pair and then go.
do you guys
All
have
right.
flashlights? Do you have mine?
Use your phone.
I'll use my phone.
Okay. All right, go guys.
Okay.
Okay, take a pee break and all of that, and we'll go in now. In 3 minutes.
3 minutes in the car.
Bring a snack. Chocolate.